I remember the former president said he was going to remove 100 million people out of poverty. And then by the time he was done, 133 million people had entered or were said to be poor. But I'm here to say, in my opinion, that every state, the 36 states, including the capital, FCT, have a major role to play in reduction of poverty, or how Nigeria is ranked in the poverty index. And I've seen a stat, and it's mind-boggling at how poorly the states perform. I'm not joking. How poorly, and that's what we want to do on the show. We want to x-ray, we want to critically examine this statistic and see, oh my goodness, what can we do from the subnational level to ensure that we play and contribute in the fight against poverty. And it's a fight everyone must be involved in. I'll tell you why. The World Bank yesterday came out and said that global economy will decline. There will be a slow growth all over the world economically. That means even the countries that you look up to will have economic woes. If you're following international economics or politics, you would find out that the UK slightly dodged recession. Same with the United States. Germany is very close to it. It's on the edge. Germany is on the edge. Of course, the Russia-Ukraine fight is still ongoing, so that place is also facing its economic woes. Countries like China, Saudi Arabia still find a way to keep a robust, but not so robust economy. Of course, Africa, usually when there is the tide at the international or the west and east level, it affects Africa, right? So the economy of the world, the global economy, might face a big challenge this year or the rest of the year, and so it might hit us hard, given the petrol subsidy removal, given some other economic factors against us. 22.04% inflation, I sing that like a song now these days. Unemployment so high, I sing that like a song these days. The subnationals will have to become creative and not continue with the feeding bottle system that has been in place for as long as I can remember, where governors wait at the end of the month, they go to Abuja and maybe, just maybe, I do not know, I've never attended such a meeting, maybe sing the songs of those in charge, and then they collect their milk in their feeding bottle and bring it back to the state, whichever state that is. Or for those who are not, in good terms with the leadership at the top, they send their commissioners of finance and maybe attorney general, and they go there and they come back with allocation for the month. Allocation for the month. And when we say, oh, this state has the highest IGRO, from Lagos to Rivers to look at these states, IGRO is usually as a result of taxation, huge taxations. I'm not saying the states are, maybe they have one or two things that they do, but they're not as creative as they should. And that's what I want us to talk about. And I'm bringing it to River State this time. And I'm saying, what can we do in River State that can begin, yet again, like I've discussed one time, begin to insulate the economy of River State from the overall economy in Nigeria. Now, we will be affected, whichever way you look at it, but not as affected as every other person would be affected. For instance, if there is a global economy, it's not every nation that will feel the brunt as, the worst hit nations. All right? Now, talking about poverty and poverty index. When you divide it by the North and the South, the North, despite having political dominance over the years, has got 65% of poor Nigerians, which is somewhere around the region of 86 million people. The South has got 35%. So somewhere around the region of 47 million people. Now let's come to the south. In the south, Bielsa, as a matter of fact, when you come to the south, or you talk about, the worst states when it comes to the poverty index, Bielsa is ranked second to the bottom. And it's scary. 88.5% poor people live in Bielsa. But that's not going to be my focus. Well, when it comes to the south side, Bielsa is at the bottom. Rivers State is number 3. Remember, in the south, we've got 6 states. Rivers State is number 3. Ahead of them are Delta, which is second place, and did I just forget it was number 1? Edo is number 1. Delta is number 2. Rivers is number 3. Akwa Ibom number 4. I think Cross River number 5, and then Bielsa number 6. In River State, we have 4.40 million people living in poverty. I'm not the one who manufactured this statistics. I might be wrong, but it is said that about 4+ million people are living in poverty. And that's a scary figure. I'll tell you why. Poverty has a way of being connected to some of the ills in our society, from kidnapping to armed robbery to cultism to poor business environment. That's the ease of doing business, because you need knowledge to be able to get your system running optimally. And sometimes these people, because of poverty, cannot have access to knowledge. So whether you like it or not, directly or indirectly, you're affected by the poverty index. You could be a big man riding in your Jeep right now, and you're listening to my voice, and you say, well, why is he talking about this? It does not affect me. But that is not entirely true. I remember one time, Dino Milai, while he was still at the National Assembly, did say that the politicians need to, that was even before NSAS, the politicians need to begin to look at the rate of poverty in society and how the young people are finding it difficult to get by, they don't have employment, and that one day they would attack the politicians. And then we had NSAS. And I'm coming now and I'm saying, I'm not a prophet of doom, but I'm saying, whether you like it or not, it somehow is linked to your existence. And so we all must come together and reason. We all must come together and talk for development on how best, from River State, that we can tackle poverty in Nigeria. What can we do? What should the River State government focus on? Because when you look at unemployment is somewhere around the region. The last time I checked, the statistics I could lay my hands on, which is sometime around 2021, River State ranked number 3 yet again when it comes to unemployment. Imo number 1, Akwa Ibom number 2, and then River State. And 43.7% was what they gave to River State. Now, what are some of the contributing factors? What are some of the indices that were used to measure the poverty index in Nigeria, state by state, that is? I'll tell you. Now, according to the statistics before me and the map before me, they used things like nutrition, food insecurity, time to healthcare, school attendance, years of schooling, school lag, water reliability, sanitation, housing materials, cooking fuel, assets, unemployment, underemployment, and security shock. Now, to be honest with you, River State did not do poorly in school attendance, in years of schooling, school lag, water reliability, housing materials, but in places like unemployment, underemployment, security shock, sanitation, I think even food insecurity, I need to check that now. I'm looking at the statistics. Yeah, even food insecurity, we did poorly. We did not do poorly in nutrition. Time to health was also something we did not do so well in. We did not do so well when we talk about accessibility to health facilities. So what's happening to the primary health care? These are some of the things that we need to look into. So we've got a new government. The government is about a week old, or more than a week old, going to 2 weeks. What do you think? And this is a very salient conversation. I really do think it is, my opinion. But really, we've got a government 1 week plus old. What should be the focus, especially now that the government is looking at structuring its cabinet, especially now that the government is looking at putting up a structure of how, or in a structure that would help him govern the people of River State? Because like I've established, the subnationals, which River State is a part of, should be up and doing in seeing how they can be creative in revenue generation other than taxation, so that we can eliminate poverty. And by the way, according to the statistics before me, the chunk of the poor people are in the rural areas, the villages. And this has always been my argument. Every time I came up on a public platform to speak, that we could have extended the development to other parts so that investments can come. But every time we hear about a kidnapping on the East-West Road, or every time we hear about court killings in the outer axis of River State or even any other place, it reduces our chances of eradicating poverty. So that means we as a people, we also have a role to play. But I'm done with my monologue, and I'm going to open the phone lines right about now, and I'm going to hear from you. Like I said, we've got a new government, and we have to have a new style of thinking. The era of it is Labour Party, it is PDP, it is APC has passed. I mean, for now, we're waiting for the courts, of course, but it's passed for now. What is here is governance, and like the president said, we have to put our differences aside and come together and say, how do we get River State working? Now, for the governor, I hear a lot of you talk all the time, but for a governor, a president, or a senator, or whoever to work, we have to be putting them on their toes, not, unruly criticism, but constructive criticism or constructive contributions. And that's your civic responsibility, and that's where you come in. And for those of you who say, every time I call on radio, it does. No, really, it does. The times when we've pushed things on radio and we've seen things happen in real life. So this is the kind of conversation I'd like us to have this evening, or at least for a start. And you can use either of the numbers, 0817 923 0002 and 0817 923 0003. And you know, we could even extend the conversation or the scope of the conversation to the local government areas. We've got 23 local government chairmen. What are they doing? What are they doing? Are they also waiting for the allocation to come from Abuja to Port Harcourt? And then when it comes to Port Harcourt, everybody goes, for economic, what they call it now? Is it State Executive Council meeting, something like that? And everybody waits and goes there and collects their share as it is shared and they go back to their various local governments. What are they really doing? And see, we need to get beyond the mentality of clapping for. I mean, we need creative ideas. And I'm willing to hear from you, really. I'm open to hearing ideas. I always pride myself in having conversations for development. Even 923 0002. That's the first number you can use to call me in the studio. The second number is 0817 923 0003. Remember, we've got a call screener, and she will screen the calls, and you get to me directly. All right, let's see. Do we have some messages now? This one says, it is funny when people, authority talk of reducing poverty without reduction in the cost of governance. They are not ready to make adjustments at all levels. Cost of governance should be crushed Sir Ken. Now, like I said, let's bring it now to River State. Let's bring the conversation to River State and even to the 23 local government. And John's Rumolumeni, if the government can actually get involved into housing, like getting acres of land or acres of land, I believe you meant to say, build massive houses, lease them out at a very cheap price for civil servants, it will go a long way in reducing poverty in Nigeria, because the price of houses is going to take a lot from people, as they may not even be able to afford 3 square meals a day. Is the government, or if the government can focus on housing to help reduce prices of housing, private landlords will continue killing people with price, because building materials are very expensive. I do agree with you. Nathaniel is calling from Bonny Island. Nathaniel, greetings to you.
Thank you very much.
Welcome then, let's talk.
We just live in a pathetic condition where most of the government officials, from the local government level to the state level to even the federal level, they don't think much about the masses.
All right.
They only go there to amass wealth for themselves, their family, their cronies, and then they just make do with that, and then cross over to the other side, and then keep it there, and come back and continue the package. So you will see to it that even when the masses are dying because of poverty, they don't care. Look at the statistics you are reading here. Everybody that is concerned should feel sorry for Nigeria, and should even feel more sorry for River State. With the huge amount of oil that's being turned out on monthly basis to generate money for the federation, many greater population, many percentage of people in River State are very, very poor. This is our leaders don't think. If we think, I think there are so many ways. We have rivers around us. Why not make good use of the river around us? Go into fish farming. Why not go into cassava farming? Why not go into some of these companies? I know that government is not a good businessman, but it can liaise. It can always liaise with private agencies, with private companies to make things happen for Nigeria. It generates employment for the young and teeming youths that are coming up. Another thing too, electricity. I saw when the federal government has given an upper hand to all the states, you can generate and supply electricity by yourself. I think it's a good opportunity for every state and the governors of the state to make sure that it go into this area and generate electricity. Once electricity is there, you can do what kind of business you want to do, and with ease, you will not spend so much. But our leaders, I'm sorry, they don't think into this. They just go there and amass wealth for themselves.
All right. Thank you very much, Nathaniel from Boniel. I've got Nimi from Elikaya and is calling back. I called earlier. Welcome. Good evening to you, Nimi.
Welcome. Evening.
Yeah, welcome.
And the topic around now is very important, and when you look at it in reality, it's quite damn. It's quite depressing, because if you are trying to be realistic, the way we do things in this country, in this part of the world, you realize that the solution is still very far. Because poverty is not something that can be eradicated by, passing some bills or, doing rural palliatives or sharing some hundreds of millions of dollars to the poorest of the poor. Or even, funny enough, opening some few government companies, national companies, while they are good, it's first aid. But it does not solve the problem. It's a slow, hard, deliberate approach.
All right.
That can really take many years. So education, meritocracy, let people get things on merit, a transparent system, and proper grassroots, developmental based infrastructure, not going to the gallery.
All right.
What we do here, we put 3-4 flyovers, and then we, every flag off, you go to the camera. No. Developmentally oriented grassroots development. Again, I say grassroots, not gathering our mothers to tie their back and carry in listen and dance in the market square. Where we have each community meaningful, impactful projects that can transform the entire scope of that community and make it able to, carry out some sort of commerce. when you look at if you take our business report, for example, we realize that the majority of river states is not connected by road. We're talking about rail, just road.
So summarize, please, so I can take other calls.
All right. So what I'm trying to say in essence is that we must prioritize education, put deliberate effort to education, deliberate effort to growth, deliberate effort to merit. So those who merit things get it, or else will leave the country. And then we must have proper infrastructure. And these things will take years. It's not something like a quick fix. There's no quick fix to solving poverty.
All right, then. All right. Thank you very much, Nimi. I've got Clinton from Bori. Oh, I missed that one, I guess. Christian calling from Bonny Island. Christian, greetings to you. What's on your mind?
Yeah, Kalada. The government needs to really invest in education.
Education, I
see. Education will make a lot difference in whatever we are talking about sensitizing the people and bringing out well-sound, educated, civilized people. And whatever they do, you always see that finesse, that awareness, that impact that education has made in the life of individual and whatever they are doing. Education matters a lot. The government should invest in education. And when we are talking about education, not just a classroom like we have these days, the environment where you learn from matters, and the kind of people that are teaching matters, and what they are being taught matters. The government will really have to draw a curriculum that boils down to elevating poverty, educating the students themselves, how to get out of poverty. You inculcate it into them, you sensitize them. The drive, the education itself is the drive to elevate, you understand, the student from poverty. That is what we need to do. Education matters. It's very important. Then, in River State, in case of River State, for example, in Bonny Island, where I'm talking to you from this, most of the projects we have on ground here, this LNG, Mobile, Shell, and so on, when they want to, expand their project or they want to build this project, we find that we are so large. There's so much laxity from our so-called leaders and representatives. There's so much, what they would have benefited from this project. You understand? Are not really gotten. They don't get it. They don't benefit from it. These projects are supposed to provide a lot of millionaires. You understand? From the project. That's the purpose of bringing this LNG to Africa. At the beginning, when they sat down, they thought the gas project in third world Africa, it can't excel. It's impossible. But that thought was defeated. They realized that they were wrong. But the real money, the profit, the dividend that would have come, they did not plug themselves into it. So it was total waste and loss. Some of those monies went back with some of these multinationals and individuals.
All right.
Those are the areas they need to look into too.
All right then. All right. Thank you very much, Christian. I've got to let you go because I've got Clinton now and he's calling from Bori. Clinton, greetings to you. What's on your mind?
Yeah, thank you, Kalada. Now, this is a new administration, and we are looking for ways that we can actually provide succor for the downtrodden.
All right.
Talking about development of reducing poverty in the land, taking our mind away from government employment.
Okay.
I think what we need to do is to invest more in human capacity development. Because I think
sorry, Clinton, that's a word that has been, or a phrase that has been used, loosely, human capital development. But when you talk about that, can you be more specific, please?
Okay. Now, talking about building of craft centers, giving skills to the people. Because I believe that if I have a skill, I have a handwork, even though I'm not employed, I can actually spend for myself.
Okay.
I can provide for my family. But we've seen the government neglecting this area. But in fact, we don't have craft centers again in River State, where people go and develop and get skills to help themselves. Secondly, talking about the education, are we actually doing free education in River State? I don't think we do free education here. Education should be free, at least to a certain extent. Really from basic level to even the secondary school level, it should be free. You hear already people coming up to say they've given the materials, learning materials to schools, but they go to the schools, no materials are provided. So schools tend to look for other means where they can get funds to run the school. So that is one thing. Then investing in the agriculture. How can we help our local farmers cultivate their crops and sell their crops at subsidized rates? How can we help them by giving them fertilizers, giving them other farming aid? This should also help in reducing poverty in the land. Then the local farmers, when they get to the market, you see tax forces. It's really bad. If you see the way these people are handling the market, even though you get the product, you cannot sell it and make profit from it. So I think if we can take all this into consideration, people can actually come out and make a living, even without being employed by government.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Ease of doing business there. Dakuku from Eche. Good evening.
Good evening.
Yeah, what's on your mind?
This is Dakuku from Apokeche.
I already know that. Welcome.
The spokesman of Eche. So, let me go to the point. I have heard what you said. You know, the problem of Nigerians is they don't want to develop other areas, most of where they are in power. That's why they don't want local government to have their own autonomy. Because if local government have their own autonomy, it will become a problem to the governors. That is why they go to the states, to the federal, and collect the question and share to the local government how they like. Are you getting my point? That's why people are suffering today in various communities. No health center, no schools, better school, no better roads in most of communities. Because of the local government are not performing their duty through the governor. For the federal government to give them the allocation, which they use to develop where they want to develop in the state, which is not good. I get my point. Right. They can do that. What to do? Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. I've got Solomon from. Oh, sorry about that, Solomon. If you can hear me, do try and call back. But let's take time to read some messages. But before I do that, I'm going to go back to my statistics. Now, remember, I have said that whatever we talk about on the show, whatever it is that we put in place, will not stop us from feeling the brunt of the general economy. That's the Nigerian economy. But it will, to a large extent, reduce the effect. And that's what we're talking about. And that's what it means to tackle poverty. And, I've given some statistics and I've said, about 43.7% unemployed. I've not even talked about underemployed. I talked about 4.40 million people living in poverty according to the statistics. Nutrition, sanitation, water reliability, school, security shock, or food insecurity. What else again? A couple of things were indicators used to measure, and in some we did well, in others we did poorly. And I'm saying, how do we then begin to stop the feeding bottle approach? I mean, we should study. I should ask some professors from foreign universities to come study this feeding, but it should be part of, because I do not understand why it's not part of governance, because this is what we've been doing for a very long time. Everybody runs to Abuja, the capital, get their feeding bottle filled up, and then they come back and then they share to the local governments, and life is good. And then you go around taxing people, and then you say you've gotten internally generated revenue. But can we be more creative? That's what I want to talk about. But let's look at the text message portal, and let's start with WhatsApp. This is Escalada. Who brought poverty to the people? You just read to us where Buhari promised to remove 100 million people from poverty, but finally sunk 130 million into poverty. The government, with just one pronouncement of subsidy removal, how many people have gone into poverty. These incompetent leaders that cannot think and formulate good policy to increase productivity and create better jobs. You pay for lights that you never see. All these old, and allow good thinking people to run the government. I'm sorry for this country, Sonny Ozoba. But Sonny, you could talk about the federal government all you want, but I'm asking you, what can we do in River State? Like I said when I started, a lot of people will blame the federal government, but nobody ever remembers to hold the state to account. 36 states. And whether you like it or not. So imagine for a second that we had industries working in various parts of Nigeria, run by, PPP, states private partnerships. Do you know how much will be going into the economy of Nigeria, whether federal government policies or not? I mean, federal government policies will make it good or bad, nevertheless. But do you know how much will be going into the economy to cushion the effect of some of these policies? America is an instance. The UK is another instance. But what do I know? This is said, if there will be job creation in the state, it will go a long way for us. Example one, if the federal government cannot put the refinery in order, can't the state do it? Exactly. Can the state go get the license? Anyways, moving on. This one says too, cost of governance will help to reduce poverty. Promise Wachiku from Omagua. Thank you very much, Promise, once again. This is good evening, Canada. The state should be hugely involved in massive production and industrialization. Come to think of it, my dear friend, do we have government sachet water in factories? No. Do we have, okay, I can't say no, I do not know. Do we have government farms that include poultry, fishing, animals? I do not know. Do we have government bakery factories? I do not know. How about state housing estates? I used to know about those. I don't know if they still are there. Formidable transport system? I don't think so. You will agree with me that it will take the state government a snap of a finger to put these and many more in place in the state, create employment, increase production and distribution of goods, and enrich the state government. Ino Baba from Rumodara. Thank you very much, Ino Baba. This one is from Adaya in Port Harcourt. The imperialist rule with poverty and terror. Poverty in Nigeria is a deliberate tool used by, you say, the government to keep the masses perpetually subdued so they remain subjects perpetually. Come to think of it, is there any top political or government official who is poor? No, I don't think so. Do their children attend the public schools? No, I don't think so. Why would someone serve the government for 35 years and pensions will not be paid? Why would a river civil servant serve for 10 years and the government deliberately don't promote you just to keep you poor? Why should Nigeria refuse to have a working refinery despite the huge natural oil resources deposited by nature? Why would someone be compelled to pay for electricity via an estimated bill for a power they never consume? Why would people continually tolerate poverty imposed on them? All right, I think I've taken enough messages. Time for me to go back to the phone lines. 15 minutes to the top of the hour. You're listening to Hard Facts on 92.3 Nigeria Info. So yeah, once again, the numbers to call in with 0817 923 0002. 0817 923 0003. Let's hear from you. What are you thinking? Tackling poverty